Copilot is now available in Excel, which is a huge leap forward in using AI directly in your day-to-day products. We're going to look at Copilot and also how you can access very, very similar features, if not better features, without using Copilot, because not only does it have a sharp fee of $30 per user per month, it also at the moment requires you to have 300 licenses that you purchase immediately, which is a huge, huge starting price. My name is David, and I might have tons of videos on Excel, PowerPoint, Google Sheets, Zoom, Teams. If you're using Tech of the Workplace, I'm covering on my channel. So if you like this video, give it a like. So what you do is you click on Copilot up here, and there are conditions about when you can and can't use it. I'll talk about it in a little bit. Let's do an easy example. So I'm going to say, make James yellow in employee column, like that. Enter. Well, sometimes you get this. It's the first time it's happened to me. And there you go. And there it's done it, which is pretty cool. So it's done that. It's applied conditional formatting. I'll show you how to do that without Copilot because it's definitely worth knowing. And let's do some other stuff. So I'm going to say, for example, make wheel red if it's the only word. There you go. It hasn't quite worked. It's got steering wheel as well as wheel. And if you don't like it, you can press undo. It actually can't do this. I've tried situations where I've asked it again and it can't do that. But I'm going to show you how to do that manually. I'm going to say another one, make date green if after 15th of November. And again, this is problematic. It's actually done it in US style, 11 of the 15, even though I'm in the UK. It's also arbitrarily chosen the year 2022, when all my dates and the current year of making this video is 2023. So it's a bit random, and it hasn't really worked. I'm going to show you how to fix those if it gets it wrong. Another thing you can do is I can say, make units sold as a color scale. It right now didn't work with heat map, so I'm doing color scale, which is actually the same wording that you use in here. I wish it would be heat map because that's what people usually call these things. But yeah, there it goes. And you could change the color if you wanted to, if you gave it some other things. So what is actually going on? If you want to make that happen, you can select a column like that and go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and then you have greater than and less than for dates. It doesn't have before and after, which is a shame, but I can say greater than, and I can type in a date. So I can say 15th of November. It defaults to 2023 with this. Well, like Copilot doesn't, but if I do it like that, then I can change the color here. So I wanted green, press OK there. And here, if I wanted to be wheel, if it's exactly wheel, I could do that. Conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, text that contains will highlight everything with wheel or steering wheel or anything that also contains the word wheel. Equal to will just highlight the word wheel. Not that difficult, but it can't do that for now. By the way, I highly recommend learning how to use these greater than, less than, between, equal to, text that contains, duplicate values as well, super, super useful. This one, less useful, data bars, also it's okay on numerical stuff. Color scales I use quite a lot, and icon sets I don't use that often. And once you've added them, you can go to manage rules and see what's going on. So the one that they added was this one, date value 15/12/2022. Now, instead it's done this one, which is greater than a number. That is the number for 15th of November because Excel stores dates as number. This one would have worked had it been 11/15/2023, but it's not there. So you can delete the rule if you don't need it. And it also did cell value equals wheel instead of text that contains wheel. So there we go. We've done the highlighting stuff. And I highly recommend just learning conditional formatting. It's super easy to use, and there is a wizard to help you. You can do a new rule and add a code that will allow you to highlight the entire row based on something or do other more advanced things. But unfortunately, Copilot at the moment is not able to do that. You can replicate a few of these actions, like the basic formatting stuff, but there's so much that it says it can't do. Like if I say freeze panes for columns A and B, and I'm literally using the wording that Excel has, which is view and freeze panes and that one. but it says it can't do it. It tells me how to do it and go to view and click on it. So yeah, it's not really that great, to be honest. It can do something like, underline headers in the table. The examples that it gives are highlight data, sort and filter, analyze this data, add a formula column. Sort and filter, I mean, from my experience, almost every Excel user who would make use of this is able to do that on their own. But you can do that if you want to. I can say sort first by item sold, then by units sold. There you go. Now it's done the multi-level sorting, which you can also replicate by data and sort and do the multi-level there. That's what it's done here. You can also say filter, which is the same as saying, you could say filter for VAT. You could also say complex filters like dates that are in the current month or something like that, and it will work. But yeah, that is something to be aware of. It also works with these table design actions, like you can say, make me a yellow table, and some of these it will do. I will talk a bit more about the table because it's super important for Copilot. Let's look at analyze this data. So I can say, give me insights on this data. It kind of gives me just one pivot table and some text-based insights, which I don't think are that particularly useful. There is an existing Excel feature that's been around for multiple years on the Home tab called Analyze Data, which I think actually does a lot more. It's also using AI. It will give you lots of options, and you can say show all 12 results. If this was a bigger table, it would give me even more. And it can do things like who has noticeably higher, what is the trend for employee SAMI. This one is a kind of minimum results, histograms, other things as well. It will do frequency diagrams and outliers. So these kind of things it can do just by analyze data. You don't have to ask for the prompt. And if you like the one that you see, it works the same in both ways. So you can click on this, and then it will give you the suggestion with a pivot table. Or if I go back to my Copilot, I can also add this to a new sheet. But there isn't really an insight here. It's just a standard table. So both of them also have the ability to use prompts as well. So here, for example, I have suggested or recent ones. I could say, for example, units sold by employee. And super, super fast compared to what you get there. And not what you meant, try this stuff. And then you can insert a pivot chart. But I can also say for engines, and then it will filter it for just that engine, which will include a filter in your pivot table. And I can also say in pie charts, like that. So this kind of thing will work pretty much the same in both. So I can say units sold by employee for engines in pie chart. And there you go. It's given me pretty much the same ones, and it gives more of an explanation here. And what you can do is this is more conversational. So I can say change to mirrors. No, it can't do that. It can sometimes do these things, but often when I test it out for this video and stuff, it keeps getting it wrong. But it tells me how to change stuff for the charts. Fine. Yeah, I find out of those two, Analyze Data is definitely the better one at the moment, although the other one, Copilot, is definitely getting better as it learns because it's a large language model. So as more people give it examples, it will learn more and more. It also gives you a text output and a little bit of conversational stuff sometimes, but it didn't work in that context. All right, so we've looked at these three essentially. The last one is add a formula column. So this is probably the one that's the most useful, although if you're a Chat GPT enthusiast, then you might already be familiar with how to do this. I'm going to write the same question to add a formula in Excel's Copilot and also in Bing Copilot, the one that comes with Edge. It's also the one that comes with Windows and similar to Chat GPT. So I'm going to say add a formula column at. All right, so let's copy this prompt, press enter, and then here we're going to paste it, press enter as well, and let's see how they go together. So I do like how Bing AI and ChatGPT start writing it out, rather than this one that just gives you the waiting sign, even if it gets there around the same time. which it does, this one gives you more of an idea that it's doing something. So you can also explain the formula, which is kind of nice. And here it's done a fairly complicated formula. So here, if I paste it there, it would do it. Or if I insert the column, it would add it there. Or alternatively, I can use this formula. Now I do need to add a new column, and I can say here that one, but I need to change a 2 to instead be this one, and this one I need to change to instead be this one, and this one as well. So there you go. It's done it in lowercase, which is not as nice, but yeah, it pretty much gets the same place. The formula is identical apart from spaces in the one that Bing created, but it did that okay. Let's do another one. So let's say add a formula column which says early if data is before 4th of November. So if we have Bing AI is telling us this, which takes the year from today, which is probably quite logical, and my dates are in 2023. What Copilot did was it chose 2021. I have no idea why. I explained the formula would say that, but why 2021? My dates are 2023. The current year is 2023. Anyway, if I click on insert column, it will actually move my other thing. And because it's otherwise that, it will show me just blank. But if I were to do otherwise check, it would all show me check because that is actually wrong. If I copy and paste this one, copy, and then you do need to know a bit more about Excel and how to copy and paste formulas. So if I do it in here, I need to change this one to my date here. Then this one will use the date function. This one will use the date value function. Both are fine for this. But yeah, one of them clearly got it wrong by assuming it was 2021. Now I can change this. If I was to do 2023, then it would be pretty much the same ones. But yeah, that is something to bear in mind. I think that Copilot does it worse than Chat GPT and Bing AI at the moment. And I wanted to kind of point that out. And also the fact that if you don't have Copilot, you can get to the same results as long as you know a little bit about copy and paste. Now Excel natively, way before Copilot came out, can also use text transformation tools and apply machine learning to that, which is similar to AI. So if I want to extract a given name in the data tab, I have this thing called flash fill. So I can type in an example like that, and it will automatically come down, and this will show up. Now, if I don't do it, I can just select the first one and do flash fill here, and it'll give me the same result. Or if I want the family name, it can be a bit difficult. So I can say that, and then I can select it and flash fill. And it kind of gets it a little bit wrong. I mean, that is how the data source is, but I want this to be lowercase. So if I amend it here, then flash fill, which is part of machine learning, will learn and try to apply that to later ones. So if I press enter there, it will fix them here. Now, if I change this third one to Dowie Jr., watch these two that also have double-barreled surnames. So that is an amazing tool, which is flash fill. Now, the main criticism of it is that it is static. So if I change this to my name, for example, then this is now incorrect. So there are two other alternatives Excel has done to make this happen. So firstly is if you select your data, and I'm just going to copy it there, and I'm going to go to the data tab and choose from table or range. This is going to say where the data for your table and press OK, and it's going to create a table there and launch the Power Query editor. Now what I can do is I can go to add column and column from examples, and I can say, for example, Eva buys games. So let's just do E buys games, enter, and then here I'm going to change to C, from C for Chris, buys clothes, and it's gotten it right there. And it's done lots of transformations, but here it has done a formula. It's using Power Query's M code, which is different to the rest, but that is something you can take. Another thing that it can do that FlashFill can't is you can add a column that is, again, a column for examples. And I can say that this is 20,000 to 30,000. Enter, and now it's going to give me the ranges based on the quantity. Press OK. This is a very complex formula, that is hard to write in Excel and also here. So I can say close and load, and then Power Query will create the output with these column names. So if this becomes David B and this becomes 53 like that, then if I go back here and I choose refresh, then suddenly it is changing there and all of these irrelevant ones are changing as well. But this is not enough because a lot of people don't love using Power Query. So you can also open this in the web. So here I am in the file in Excel Online, Dave's dataset, same file. What I can do is I'm going to do something similar to both of those. So here I'm going to add a new column and I'm going to say L likes games, enter. And this one also only works in a table. But if you keep writing it, so I'm going to say B likes clothes, and then it's going to say this. We've created a formula for you, which takes the first letter from the family name, adds in the word likes, and adds in the lowercase of this one, which is pretty cool. So I can press apply, and it does that. You don't need Copilot for this. This is available with Microsoft 365, Excel on the web at the moment, not in desktop at the moment. And you can do other things like the one I showed you. So here I can say 20,000 to 30,000, enter. And here I'm going to say 10,000 to 20,000, enter. And then it's done that as well. As you can see, the formula in Excel is not particularly easy at all, but it has put that in for you. So this one actually does a lot more than flash fill, and it provides you with a formula which is much better. Only works in a table for now, much like Copilot, but you can get this with examples without using Copilot. Doesn't work so well with conditional formulas, which I showed you examples of, but it does work very well with this. Here's another major limitation. Copilot will only work if you select data in an Excel table. If I click on this, this is an Excel table, which has table design up here. This one does not. The way you get to an Excel table is you need to click on what you have prepared as a table and choose Format as Table over here, or Insert and Table. Now, most people, from my experience, do not use tables, but they are massively missing out because these are so many benefits. For example, the formula is now referencing the current row. It's not referencing a cell value, etc. And also if I were to kind of add in a new column that says equals to this one, enter, it would fill down the whole way. Plus it automatically grows in terms of its formatting and everything else. If you don't want that to happen, you can click on this and choose undo. But usually that is something that you want to happen, so it's perfectly fine. Now I have another video where I talk more about tables, but I won't go into them in this case. Just know that Copilot will not work unless you convert your data to a table first. So let's say you have a thing that's not a table like this. Copilot will tell you it needs to be a table, but sometimes that's just not practical. For example, here I have multi-row headers, and a lot of the time, unfortunately, in business, people prefer to use them. Now, if you know your way around Power Query, you can get around that. However, if you don't, then you're stuck with not being able to use Copilot. You can, however, often use analyze data. So if I was to click on this one and analyze data, it is smart enough. If I show you insert pivot table, what it does is it creates transform data, which has one row for headers, and it gives you suggestions. And this is great and much more advanced than Copilot can do. The main benefit of Copilot is that it is in context. It is doing something for you as you are looking at it. Whereas Chat GPT and Bing Copilot cannot do that, unfortunately. What they can do is they can give you something as you type it, or if you use GPT-4, you get a little bit of that. So here I'm uploading a file, and this is how the file looks. And I'm going to say, clean up this data set. ChatGPT 4 does cost $20 per user per month, but way less than Copilot, which is currently going for $30 per user per month and a minimum license. So there you go. It's doing this, and it's explaining how it's going to do that and analyze it and clean it. It's not perfect. Definitely, if you're a Power Query user, then you would do that yourself for a better result. But let's see what it outputs. It says it's found some irrelevant rows, and you can see here 6 and 7, etc., correct headers, empty columns and consolidate as well. There you go. It says it's done something, but there are future considerations. And I can say, I want to download the file cleaned. And there you go. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect. I still would remove the subtotals, and the sale date is showing me date time, which is almost never what you want, but that is pretty nice. The reason why it's doing that is because there was a time in one of the cells that was hidden in this format. So yeah, that is much better. It's not made it into an Excel table. I would probably do that myself and remove the subtotals, but it's able to do that. Copilot in Excel cannot do that, and neither can Bing Chat because you can't upload a file. So we've gone even further, and I've said make person lowercase, and also recolor Manette, this one, in blue. Let's see what it gives. There you go. It's done as I wished. However, if I go to conditional formatting and manage rules, it doesn't do it as a manage rule. It just fixes that that is in blue. So yeah, so that's how Chat GPT would work for that. Another thing that both of these, the free Bing Chat and Chat GPT, are good for is generating random data sets. So if I go here, I could say, create a data set to paste into Excel with 3 columns. Date in 2023, value between 0 and 10, and person is Jack or Rose. So here you have it, and then you can split it in different ways. So like this, and then I can paste it there. And I could do text to columns in the data tab, or I could use a formula equals text split. This one, and then column delimiter is like that. And then I could drag it down and I get the sample data set. You can also ask it for more rows. It's pretty good at doing this. You can't do this with Excel Copilot, but you can with Bing Copilot or ChatGPT. It's not something you would need to do in context. So I hope you've enjoyed that. My name is David, and I have tons of videos on Excel, PowerPoint, Google Sheets, Zoom, Teams. If you're using Tech of the Workplace, I'm covering on my channel. So give this video a like if this is something you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.